Alex here with another review. This time we're taking a look at Rydeen's dual side camera system CM-D700 AHD, which has the ability to add side cameras both left and right to a digital mirror. And on this video I'm going to show you the contents of this kit, as well as show you how it works, including video both at day and at night, to see how well this system actually performs. And this system is compatible with Rydeen's digital mirrors, and I have already reviewed several of them, so I'll put links to the original reviews for the digital mirror system in the description down below, along with links to the digital mirrors and a link to this kit in case you'd like to get one for yourself. And now let's check out the contents of the kit. First off, we get a control box, and we also get two side cameras, and we'll take a look at those closer in a little bit. We also get two extensions, one for each side camera, and these extensions are quite long. And then we have the power wires for the control box. Let's take a closer look at those. And the first harness is gonna connect to this side, and this larger harness is gonna connect to the other side of the box. Now you'll notice that each one of these harnesses has a different style of connector, so it's not like I can mix them up. Now that I have connected both of them, let's take a closer look at this guy. And you'll notice that each end has been labeled. So as you can see, this is gonna go to the left side camera. This guy is gonna go to the right side camera. This guy is gonna go to the rear camera. And this one right here is for the reverse trigger for those that are using parking assist, and this one has been labeled 12 volts. The instruction describes this as for use with commercial cameras. Moving over to the other side of the box, first off we have this large cable which has been labeled cam. Now this is gonna go to the display, which in my case is gonna be my Rydeen Tombo 360 mirror dash cam. Then we have this smaller set of wires. Again, each one has been labeled. Notice that this one says left trigger. This is gonna activate the left side camera. The next one is gonna be the right trigger, and this is gonna activate the right side camera. The next one, which is green, has been labeled reverse trigger. This is gonna be for those using parking assist. Then there's a yellow wire that says VAT plus. This is gonna be providing power to the control box. And then we have a black wire which has been labeled ground, which is gonna go to ground. Moving over to the side cameras, these ones are waterproof and they are gonna be mounted in one of two ways. One of them is with the included high-strength double-sided tape, which will be applied right here. Can peel this back and then attach this to the vehicle. Now the second way to do so is with the included screws. Now they did include this adjustment tool, which is meant to be installed or inserted into these holes, and that would allow us in theory to adjust the cameras, but you can see where that tool actually slipped over and scratched the camera casing right here, and I find it a lot easier just to apply pressure like this with my fingers to get the camera to go into the position that I like. But now let's move over to the vehicle. Now at first glance you can see that pretty much everything looks the same. I still have my display for the rear camera, and that display is adjustable as far as the position of it. Now I'm gonna test out the reverse trigger, which is the parking assist function. I'm gonna put the car on reverse. And as you can see, the parking guidelines come up. So now when I put the car out of reverse, then the view returns back to that normal view without those reverse guidelines. So this switcher is fully compatible with parking assist. But now let's take a look at the side cameras, because this is where it gets really interesting. And as you can see, I have the turn signal for the right side enable, and we get the right side camera. Now the side cameras have the same ability as the rear camera as far as being able to adjust the position of them. I kind of like mine right here. Now when I turn off the turn signal, the camera returns to the rear camera view, which can definitely simplify driving because now the side cameras are basically controlled by the turn signals. Let's take a look at the other one, and this is gonna be the left side, which in my case happens to be the driver's side. And again, we have a really good view of the road right here, and again the ability to adjust that as needed. I like mine somewhere about right here. But one thing that I was really curious about is what would happen if I were to enable 2 out of the 3 triggers at the same time. What would happen? Will the system freak out? Because remember, we have a left side camera trigger, right side camera trigger, and the reverse trigger, which is the parking assist. So I'm gonna put the car on reverse. and we get that parking assist view because the reverse trigger has been enabled. Now, if by accident I were to click my turn signal, nothing happens. The reason for that is that the system is smart enough to understand that the reverse view should take priority over the side cameras, and that makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna put the car back into D, and the view is gonna return back to that normal prior view. But now let's try out a second scenario. I'm gonna put the car on reverse, and we're gonna get that parking assist view because the reverse trigger has been enabled. Now by accident, let's say I'm gonna click again my turn signal. Nothing happens because we know the reverse view takes priority over the side camera, but in this time, I'm gonna leave the turn signal on. I'm just gonna pull the car out of reverse. And because the turn signal is still on, now the camera switched from the reverse view to the side camera view, and it's gonna stay on the side camera view until I turn the turn signal off. And again, this makes sense the way it's set up like that. But now let's take a look at some video from the side cameras so we can see how well they actually perform. And here's the system in action. Notice that when I turn my turn signal off, the system defaults to the rear view. Turn the turn signal on again and it switches to the side camera. So it is important to remember that this is a switcher system. It's not like we're adding additional channels to the mirror dashcam. That's just not possible. What it's doing is just switching between the rear camera and the left and right side cameras. Now what's also pretty neat is that there's quite a bit of adjustment as far as the side camera and when there can be aim. I'll show you that in a little bit, but it also means that this opens up the possibility to potentially place these side camera systems in other locations. For example, I heard of people putting this type of cameras in the front of their vehicle, in the front bumper. That way you can see as you're getting closer to a curve if your vehicle is gonna hit that potential front end of your car. So really here the placement of those cameras is really only gonna be limited by the skill of the installer and the imagination of the owner requesting for the camera to be placed in an interesting place. But I do want to show you something regarding the adjustment of view, and that is that the Tombo has the ability to have two positions saved on its memory for the rear camera. Notice that this is the driving position, but if I put the car on reverse, now this is a view that's a little bit lower so I can see a little bit behind me better. Now I purposely set mine up like that, and when I put the car out of reverse, now the view again switches to that higher position. Again, this is how I set it up because the Tombo is able to remember two positions, driving position and parking assist position. And here's why that is important. Notice what happens when I turn on my turn signal. We get that side camera view. However, if I were to adjust the view right now and move it lower, remember the Tombo is gonna remember that, thinks that this is my driving position. When I turn off that turn signal, now the rear view is also gonna be in that lower view, not in this position that I like. Now I like my camera setup to be like this, in the highest position for the rear view, which also works out great for my side cameras. But if for some reason you wanted to have the side camera view be different than the reverse view, there is another way to adjust them, and that is to physically point or aim the side camera on the eyesight of the vehicle. Let me show you how that looks. And here's the side camera mounted underneath my mirror. And if you recall earlier, I showed you that they included this adjustment tool, and that could get inserted into the first set of holes. And now I can adjust the side camera to either face towards the inside of the vehicle or to face towards the street if I wanted to see more of the vehicles. And also I could insert it into this position, into that hole and that hole right there. And now I can adjust the side camera in the up and down position position in case I wanted to see more towards the windows of the vehicle, or if I wanted to see down more towards the road. And that's how you can potentially end up with two independent views, a different view for the side camera and a different view for the driving view on the Tombo. Now, another two interesting things that I found with this is, as I showed you earlier, I actually found it easier just to move and aim the camera with my fingers. The second thing that I found is that little dot right that you see right there. That little white dot indicates up. Now, this is important because I found that I can actually turn the camera, and it takes some force, but I can either twist it either to the left or towards the right, and that adjusts basically the leveling of it in case you wanted to adjust the orientation, and you would always know which is up by looking at that dot, and then you can get an idea of how much adjustment that you are doing to it as you twist it either to the left or to the right. Now, what's also really interesting is that Rydeen so far seems to be the only company releasing upgrades to their digital mirrors, and they have several upgrades which I've already covered in the channel. And with this side camera system, I think it really takes those LCD mirrors to the next level, especially for those folks that are looking to have coverage for those blind spots. Now, if you're curious about how the connections are made as far as the power connections, I have made another video detailing that process. I'll put a link to it in the description down below, and I'll put a link to another video where I show you how I run cables in the inside of the trim of the car and to the outside of the vehicle if you want to see what that process looks like. Also, remember, I placed a link in the description down below to this system in case you want to get one to yourself, and links to the digital mirror dashcams from Rydeen in case you need to get one of those. If you found any part of this video helpful, make sure you hit the thumbs up button to support the channel. If you have any questions regarding this system, please put them in the comments down below. And thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.